are you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pierce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pierce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, turn like a muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the band, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got two is where you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit. And you
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Before we kick off the show tonight, we would like to dedicate this episode of Making Chicken Salad to the memory of Tony Knight, a comedian and WrestleBrania alumni who we had the pleasure of performing with in Ballarat this past year. So rest in peace, Tony Knight.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll just...
Toddy? Jeff, did you want to say anything?
Yeah. Look, it's pretty simple. I contacted Tony late last year because a few people put me onto him, and he was a pleasure to deal with. He was a pleasure to work with, and he really got the format of the show that we run. And he was funny. He was bloody funny, and wherever he is, I'm sure he's looking down and smiling. Thanks for everything, Tony. The fact is, he died in France, and I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know what the story was there. He was still quite young. He was 54. So, there you go. Thank you.
Alrighty.
He's somewhere doing a very bad pantomime of a wrestling thing.
Yeah, probably. Calling it the wrong words. Calling it the wrong words and wondering why no one's getting the answer.
Welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. I am your host, Lachlan Albert, and I am joined by a man who's very preoccupied with the size of people's packages, Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
Well, that is a scurrilous lie.
Well,
I'm fine.
I got to call them like I see them, right? And we're also joined by a man who is WrestleBrania's most wanted, Jeff Setti. Jeff, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I am. And we got a busy second half of the year.
Oh, yeah. I believe that's going to be stacked. So before we kick off, anyone who's not following at WrestleBrania to keep up with those shows getting announced, you can do that there. And if you want to join us in the conversations that we're going to have tonight, you can do it at twitch.tv/WrestleRadioAustralia. And if you're listening in after this has gone live, make sure you head over to twitch.tv/WrestleRadioAustralia and hit the follow button so you get notified when we do go live on our Thursday night 8 p.m. time slot so you can be part of the conversation. Tonight, there's a lot to talk about. There's Aussie shows coming up in Melbourne and in Sydney and in Queensland, and there's news in WWE and AEW. But before all that, there's been a bit of chaos in Queensland Pro Wrestling League. Chaos Theory from a few weeks ago. Jeff?
I was going to say, I've got a theory about that, but you just didn't even let me get it in.
No.
Didn't let me get it in.
Well, he's on a segue, mate. You got to let him go. You just got to let him
like
roll.
a freight train. So we watched Pro Wrestling League's Chaos Theory. Todd was there on commentary for a large portion of the night. Normally, I would hit these Pro Wrestling League shows, but I was busy that night, so we've found it for free on YouTube is where Jeff and I watched it. If you go to YouTube, search for Pro Wrestling League, you'll be able to find this and some previous events up there for free to watch. I'll give a little bit of PWL context, as I often do for Queensland Wrestling. PWL is kind of the standard bearer company for Brisbane Wrestling, right? Where you've got your MCW in Melbourne is kind of your flagship promotion for the city, same as PWA in Sydney or EPW in Perth. We've got PWL here in Brisbane. That's our big city promotion. Obviously, in all of those places, there are other promotions that are chomping at the bit and competing, as is the case here in Brisbane. But PWL is kind of, I would say, as far as production goes, as far as in-ring action goes, probably the most well-rounded of the companies that we've got here. There is a little bit for everyone going on here. So that's where PWL sits in terms of the Queensland wrestling landscape. And this show, Chaos Theory, was a really good demonstration of that, I think. A really good variety of matches, a variety of stories flowing through this. Before we get into the match by match, Jeff, I know this is maybe your second PWL show you've watched. What did you think of it overall? Yeah.
Second or third. I thought this was a great show. Everything worked to a good degree. There was nothing where you're going, that didn't work. Even, and I don't generally like, no contest or schmoz finishes, but even that worked because it's building to something. And that was kind of good. Everyone looked good. Everyone came out of this show looking better for being part of it. And I think that's always a good thing. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Really liked it.
Now, Todd, we know that you are involved with this show, being on commentary, managing one of the people in the main event, right? So you've obviously we're aware that there might be some bias coming in here. So I know that you're careful with what you say when reviewing a lot of the Queensland stuff. In general, what do you think PWL, like putting on this level of shows, is that going to be able to sustain PWL going forward?
Oh, of course. Yes. Yeah. The big thing about like Pro League, and it's the same thing that pretty much everywhere that is a good promotion carries on, is they do really focus on quality control. So like just because somebody's your mate and he might be a wrestler, they're not just going to put him on the show. They have to be at a certain level to be on these shows. The production has to be at a certain level for them to want to do it. Because now that they're really like focusing on like putting stuff up on YouTube and that, they're raising the production of that side of things now. So they're gonna like start like they're working on the sound of the commentary and the all the other things. All these things are just evolving, and if anything, it's just going to grow from where it is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's kick into the run of the show, opening with a bit of a promo from yourself, Todd. Now, Jeff, you and I both noticed that in the recorded version, there is a little bit of some audio difficulty here due to, I guess, the fact that the microphones aren't looped into the audio feed when promos are being cut. So the recorded audio that we're getting is just the audio that's coming through speakers and back into microphones in the building. Yeah. So it can make these promos a little bit hard to hear.
Yeah, I could barely hear Todd, which is a real shame. I mean, you might not think
it's
but it's a real shame.
That's a first for you.
I must be the first to ever say that in your life. No,
yeah. The less I hear Todd talk, the better.
Yeah, I could hardly hear you, mate. And it's a real shame because, you were probably setting up one or two things or telegraphing one or two things that might happen during the night. And as I could barely hear you, I kind of disengaged with your promo a little bit. That's not a note on you, as I think you're aware. It's a note on the production. And, there are people who can help with that kind of production, like your Mikey J's and people like that, who will make sure that it's looped in. But I honestly think that's a minor complaint when the rest of the show is so entertaining. I almost think it's possibly something where I didn't need to hear your. This I have said before. I didn't need to hear you.
Well, the thing is, right, with that promo for that show, if you were just going to the show, you would have needed to hear that promo, because originally what had happened was, and this is a behind the scenes sort of thing, okay? What happened was Sam Cannon was sick.
The actual meat of the promo about like what happened for the show, and then we'll get that explanation. So the gist of it is that Todd came out with Mitch Ryder, who is an absolutely phenomenal performer, and pointed out the fact that Mitch Ryder was the first Pro Wrestling League champion since they returned, had an extremely long title reign, and then the title was taken from Mitch Ryder in a triple threat match, and Mitch had not had a rematch for his title, and instead was in a 6-way match for #1 contendership. And Todd was saying, this is ridiculous. Mitch rightfully deserves a rematch.
I said bullshit. I took your word, Jeff.
And said that Mitch shouldn't have to compete for #1 contendership. He should be the #1 contender. And Outback Adam came to the ring and said, yep, that's fine. I've got Sam Cannon in the main event, but let's make it a triple threat, and Mitch Ryder can be in there as well. And then, Todd, do you want to take us through the behind the scenes of that decision?
Yeah, so behind the scenes, during the week, Sam Cannon was sick. So we weren't actually sure that Sam was going to make the show. So it was like, well, what can we do to give them a decent main event now that we won't have Sam? So it was just like, well, Mitch never got a rematch for his title. I can always bullshit our way into it by doing that. Just like give me 5 minutes on the microphone and we'll get that done. We got to the venue and Sam had felt a hell of a lot better, so he caught the flight down and was going to make the show. So they thought, we'll just make it a triple threat instead. So, but that was to set it up because they'd already taken Mitch out of the other match and they'd already worked out what they were going to do. So it was sort of like, it's easier to work out a 3-way match than it is to add someone into a 6-way. So that was the gist of it from behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely. And even with the bits that we could hear, it was a Todd promo, right? And I say that in the most complimentary way possible. And you'll hear us talk about it throughout the show because Todd did a lot of this show on commentary where there's experience on the microphone at shows that, and again, not blowing smoke here, Todd knows what he's doing on a microphone at a wrestling show. And it always gets where it needs to go. So big props to Toddy for that. Kicking into the first match on the card, because I can't be complimentary for too long, a 6-person tag match with the team of Beep, Yeet, and the Stockman. That's the Stockman with Lil Mars and Yeet Stevens, up against Culture, the team of Eugenie, Moko Kai, and Toa. Now, I think Culture has very quickly become an absolute highlight of Queensland wrestling. They are the presentation of Eugenie as the shit-kicking leader of 3 shit-kickers. It's so good. I love Moko's performance. I think Toa is an absolute superstar. Those guys have just got everything you need to put together to make it work. Beep and Yeet are consistently crowd favorites that, Lil Mars is still reasonably new to the in-ring action, but Yeet Stevens has got that experience. He's got that in-ring skill. He's got the connection with the crowd. Stockman is just huge and menacing. And the way that this match worked with Lil Mars being the focus of the heat from Culture, them really taking advantage, cutting the ring off against the babyface who's easiest to root for in the form of Lil Mars, I think was really expertly put together, leading into Culture getting the win on this one. Jeff, what did you think of this 6-person?
Look, I liked it. The Stockman just had that Undertaker presence, and it's intentional. Like, they dress him up like Taker, and obviously tweak the gimmick a little bit. Lil Nas is great at being the babyface in peril. You do the whole, like, even, I've probably watched hundreds and hundreds of tag matches, but it's that, they go around and they remove the partners before the tag can be made. And, when's this going to happen? It all built really, really nicely. I think the ending was a bit sudden, but that's okay. And I like Culture so much. I've got a huge upside. Culture, if they start traveling a bit, people book them smartly, they're going to be huge. They're going to be big, big names in Australian wrestling within a couple of years. They've got it. And obviously, it echoes another group that's been rather prominent in wrestling of late. So I kind of like that. I like the Samoan.
Freeze.
Great.
What I like about it is that the Culture pretty much everywhere are baby faces. And the fact that they're trying this different thing where they're trying to go for a heelish sort of thing is good because they're going to learn. It's all about, for me anyway, it's all about learning, all about adding more tools to your toolbox, and them to be able to learn to work heel is a great thing to learn. And they can be. If Toa can go against his natural impulse to be a nice person, then he could be really, really good.
That's the problem, is he is just too lovely a guy.
He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet, eh? I love him. He's great.
Excuse me, I'm on the call.
I know.
Yeah, fully agree there. I think Culture set for massive things. And, obviously, I can never say enough good things about Yeet Stevens. I think he is a really fantastic babyface. I'm ready to see... I don't know if I'll ever see him as a heel. I really want to see him as a heel because he's so imposing. But he's so lovable. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of upside in that 6-person match.
I don't know if he ever wants to be, because when you sell the amount of merch that guy sells, he probably doesn't want to do that.
You say that, but and you're probably right. You're probably, he's probably going to be. I read something. Sorry, I'm meandering a bit, but I read something about John Cena, and I think it was from Pritchard. They asked Pritchard why John Cena never went heel, and he said it was because nobody was ready to take his place. Oh, it was Scott Keith. Someone asked if Cody will ever be a heel, and he said that just depends on whether someone's going to be able to take Cody's place. And I think right now, Yeet is in that position where he's such a good face. No one is ready to be someone who's a massive unit who can be that kind of face.
Yeah.
And it's hard because Cody's already a heel.
Yeah, I mean, that's
he picked a little girl up out of the crowd. I watched on their Instagram today and gave her a hug, and she was wearing the Homelander gear, so she must also be a heel.
She was also, absolutely. All right, moving on in PWL Chaos Theory, a one-on-one match with the newly heel Rufio defeating JJ Avery by submission. I think this was a really good match to demonstrate the new attitude for Rufio of just ruthlessness. Rufio is absolutely fantastic. Again, talk about someone with all the tools. I think that this heel version of Rufio is really entertaining. And I liked, I talked last time we talked about PWL, that the turn was very sudden from the perspective of being in the crowd. And I think people weren't quite ready to boo him. And this show, he really did the things he needed to do to be that detestable jerk. And hey, black trunks, black boots, black knee pads helps, right? Yeah. Just wear the most boring gear possible, come out and be a jerk. Love it. JJ Avery is a kid with such a bright future. I think he did a really excellent job in this match. There's obviously seasoning that needs to happen, I think, with the crowd connection is the biggest spot, because the crowd is ready to love him. And if he can give enough back to the crowd to get them to really come up and meet him there. His in-ring performance is fantastic. His look is brilliant. Yeah, and considering his age, because he's 18, I believe, right? Like, bright future there. Geoff, what did you reckon of this one?
I really like this one. I think Rufio will add more dimensions as a heel as time goes on. The only slight thing is I kind of want a better finisher for him. A submission finisher is fine, but the current finisher is almost like a 3-year-old hugging themselves. You know, he's finishing with a 3-year-old hug. But it doesn't quite work. Yeah, look, the knee in the back and pulling it in, that adds some gravitas. But essentially, I was giggling because all I could see was a 3-year-old giving themselves a good old hug.
I'll also jump in and back that up, Geoff. I think part of the thing that I don't like about that finisher in particular is that for where you have the crowd seated to watch the show, when you've got the babyface with their arms around their face and pulling up, you actually lose the ability for the crowd to be looking at the face of that baby face and see the pain that they're in, which is the thing that the crowd wants to connect to feel that despicable heel energy. When you're covering that face and pulling it up and hiding it from the crowd who that's their eye level, that's not going to work as well.
I think also
with the mechanics of the move, the guy can't tap out. So it has to be a verbal submission, which is really hard to pick up at some points.
See, you say that, Lachlan, but one of my favorite submissions is Bryan Danielson's cattle mutilation, because it looks like it fucking hurts a ton. And so I think Rufio could almost pinch that. If Rufio puts on a cattle mutilation, who cares what the guy looks like? He's in pain. He's screaming. His arms are flailing and he's tapping in the air. That's fine. But I just think that the hold didn't capture me. Maybe it was because it's the first time he's brought it out. We want to see, you know, the person it's applied on's face. But I also think that it just had that little juvenile type look for me. It did, you know, and it didn't fit well. But as a match, great match, really good. Both played their roles well.
Yeah, Todd, you agree?
Yeah, it was fine. Literally, my only problem with that is that finisher, because the babyface can't tap, so they have to be verbal with it. And a lot of times, if your mouth has been covered with your arm, it's kind of hard to be verbal.
Yep.
So it's sort of like, and like, how does a ref check that the guy's out? Because it's not like he can grab an arm and he just has to like look and go, oh, that's enough, ring the bell. It loses that thing where you haven't got the guy tapping and
Which I think it's not an inherent problem with the move until the move is in the situation of a wrestling match, right? Like it looks good. It looks good in terms of physically everything. You go, oh, I understand why that's a submission. It fits all the mechanics of a submission. But then once it hits the end of a match, you're like, there's a couple of things that I don't love about it. But I think that the match itself was really solid and shows a good heel persona for Rufio and a good future for Avery.
I also think if that's going to be his finisher, he should work the neck, you know, the upper back and the arms a bit, just to really show that you know, the psychology behind it. Because the heel is the psychology. The heel is the guy that's going to, or the wrestler that's going to work a body part to apply a hold. The face has to block that. Is the story of a lot of matches. If he's moving to this as his finisher, he should be working body parts more. Jesus, I sound like Todd.
Moving on from that was a 3-way tag team match with Wacall's Most Wanted, Decadence, and Zach Reynolds receiving his mystery partner from the host of Tag Team Therapy, Too Darn Hot, Chris Dink, and his partner being revealed to be Craven, a man that he has been feuding with since COVID lockdowns. So that went interestingly. This match was won by Wakeall's Most Wanted, the team of the Cockroach and Jack Tar. I am someone who is a massive apologist for decadence. James Yeager and Roberto are both just, I think, absolutely stellar in what they do. Roberto's new gimmick of the hyper male, where he's, effectively a YouTuber talking about how masculine he is, I think is so funny. Yeager's new Dream Killer gimmick, I love their Vet Killer finisher, I think is so cool. I enjoy Craven and Reynolds being a team to play off that history they've got. I think Wakeall's Most Wanted have clearly got so much fan love for that gimmick. I think putting Tar into that team is such an interesting choice because it really gives Cockroach as a bit of a goofy high flyer, a solid base to work with. So I think that's really exciting to watch. I liked this match a lot. It got a bit chaotic. I personally would have preferred seeing Decadence win. I really like them being kind of the tag team in Brisbane. I don't have a problem with Wakeall's Most Wanted, and obviously they're the baby faces here. Whereas Decadence as a heel team, I don't know, I like heel teams being able to take advantage of the fact that they are heel teams to get the win. But I think when you've got a match this chaotic, it might make sense to have Wakeall's Most Wanted win. Especially in a company without tag titles, so it's not too big of a deal. But that's where I'm at there. Geoff, what did you think of this one?
I liked it. Rather predictably, I liked it. I dig Wakeall. I dig what Wakeall's Most Wanted are doing and where they're at, because as a tag team and with that gimmick, they could so easily be heels. And yet they pull it off, and with their charisma and senses of humor and the fun they're having and the fact they're bringing the crowd into the fun they're having, it makes them natural baby faces. I liked the other teams. I think there was a lot of nice tag maneuvers, which aren't, always on display so much. A lot of nice tag maneuvers, a lot of nice double teams, and it ran at a good pace. It didn't outstay its welcome. And in my opinion, and I know you don't agree with this, but the right team won, because the tag team, the Queensland tag team of the Decadence, they can get a win back later. The loss doesn't hurt them because they are that dominant up there in Queensland. So having Wakeall's Most Wanted win is important and kind of nice for them and for the scene, because if you can bring another team up to your level, then you've got a few years of tagging, which will be really interesting. So I kind of liked it.
Toddy?
Yeah, the whole thing we talked about with like how Craven and that have been feuding. I don't know if we were supposed to mention that on the mic. I just decided to do it as a way to like get stuck into Dink about Dink being incompetent.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? These guys have been fighting for it. He's like, what? No. But then luckily I got like a message from the owner, from the owner going, "I was really good. I like that. It adds like an extra thing to their team that wasn't probably there before for people that wouldn't have known."
Exactly. And I think that the length of the feud that they did have and the extent that feud went to, I think kind of has to be acknowledged, because even if it didn't come up a lot within PWL, like when you've got the Queensland Strong thing going on, and when you've got, a lot of people who were at this show would have been going to the multiple other companies that those guys feuded in and spent literal years cutting promos on each other, I think it's worth acknowledging and bringing into that story, So I think that was really entertaining. And here's where I'll mention, again, not to blow smoke, Toddy on commentary was fantastic. I really like Chris Dink on commentary. I think that if he could talk a little bit faster is the only thing that I've kind of said to him in the past is in the playback, he can come through a little bit slower just in terms of getting his points across. And I think Seb, I can't remember what, Bastion James, was trying to not say his shoot name. Bastion James, I think, is just a great straight man. So I really liked the commentary team.
I think I kept calling him Seb on the mic the whole night anyway.
Yeah. It happens. So I'll mention there that,
But no, to your point, I actually really do like working with like Seb and Dink. Dink is good because he rolls. Dink's a very good straight man.
Yes.
Like, when I've been working with him anyway, he's a really good straight man for me to be able to make fun of, but yet not make fun of enough that it buries him completely, but enough that he rolls with it. And it's good because I can never get him to break, which really that can annoy me. I'm like, just fucking break once, will you?
But it's fun because it's been on the other side with me where I've been the straight man on commentary and he's been a goofy, dorky heel, and he can do that just as well on commentary. So big shout out to Chris Dink, who I think character-wise, he's one of the strongest things in Queensland wrestling at the moment, I reckon. The fact that he has been able to get himself over as a character in multiple different ways in multiple different companies is so impressive. So the gimmick that he's doing in like Pro League is his too darn hot gimmick, where he thinks he's the sexiest man alive, which is so funny, and he does this horrible little dance that's just hilarious. And
but
then
he also does he's like Maury Povich, Dr. Phil type gimmick.
Doing the tag team therapy like talk show. And then over in Toowoomba, he's got the headgear and the mouth guard and the wrestling singlet, and he's all lanky, and he's doing that. And then in Wide Bay, he's one of the stepdads, and he's a goofy stepdad there. The fact that he's been able to get these wildly different characters over in different companies just through his strength of personality, I think reflects really positively on him. And character-wise, he's really excellently strong. So I wanted to give that shout out there. Moving on to Bobby Bishop's Open Challenge. At the last Pro Wrestling League show, there was a Rumble match in which we saw the return of the Devil's double Jesse Daniels, who took out Bobby Bishop and then eliminated himself to beat down Bobby Bishop more. Bobby's been unhappy with that and has been calling Jesse out, and so hosted an open challenge. And Logan Pierce answered the challenge, the liability, coming to try and get a win over Bobby Bishop, but this was declared a no contest due to the interference of Jesse Daniels challenging Bobby Bishop for the next show. Jeff, what did you think of this matchup?
I liked it, but I liked it because of the ending. I liked it because having Daniels run out and, kind of schmoz it up and, put fists to Bobby Bishop made Bobby more interesting than he has been, I don't know, probably 30 years, 40 years, I don't know, I'm not sure. I mean, I know I can see you there shaking your head. You probably agree with me, Todd. No, I'm joking.
No.
Look, this was great. I'm joking if you hear this, Bob. This is great. This was a lot of fun. I think Logan Pierce has a huge upside, and the ending made sense. It really made sense. It adds to the story that, this guy's going to keep running in and interfering in Bobby's matches until he gets the match he wants. I kind of like that from a heel because it means that people want to see him beaten up. If it's the next show or the show after or even the show after that they finally lock up, the crowd get more and more molten hot for it until it happens.
It's like I kept saying in character on commentary is that Bobby was a sook. And why would Jesse Daniels give him a match when he's already beaten him up? He doesn't have to give him a match. He's already done what he wanted to do. He doesn't have to do this. Tim, Bobby had already called out Jesse. Jesse doesn't have to answer because he's a fucking heel.
Yeah.
Work that out.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer that.
Tim in the chat was saying it's an unneeded match for the story because Bobby had already called out Jesse. I actually liked that Jesse didn't answer this open challenge. I thought that was a really good character touch because Jesse, as the Devil's Double, is not going to meet Bobby on terms that's favorable for Bobby. Right?
No.
If Bobby's been preparing...
If it was the other way around, if it was Jesse going, I'm going to call Bobby Bishop out, of course Bobby would answer that thing straight away because he's a babyface and fights up to a challenge no matter what. Jesse's a heel. Why would he do it until it works for his way? Like you said, works the best to his advantage.
I also really liked that this match made Bobby kind of it reasserts that Bobby is a good professional wrestler, right? And so that sets stakes for what Jesse is doing by interfering, right? Bobby is really good between the ropes. He's undeniable. He's going to win matches. So there is stakes for Jesse. Bobby isn't just some doofus who's getting beat up by Jesse Daniels every show, right? But it also gives a chance for someone like Logan Pierce to come out and cut what I thought was a really entertaining promo.
Yep.
I loved the lead in with there's one thing you've got to learn. It's that if someone's got a microphone telling you they want to beat you up, don't let them get this close. Headbutt.
Yeah, bang. Brilliant.
Like really good stuff from
Like I said, he just watched that movie. What was it called? Roadhouse.
Yeah. It was very Roadhouse.
It was very Roadhouse.
Roadhouse.
This match had two really, really good promos at the start and at the finish. Like Jesse Daniels' promo was really, really good. Talk about set a table for what this feud is about.
And I really liked the name, The Devil's Double. I think that's a great name, and I'm surprised no one's taken it on a bigger stage. You know, The Devil's Double. It's got a nice alliteration, and it's really good. And you can get lots of T-shirts from that. Lots of cool ones.
Yeah.
So,
I enjoy how much real life stuff has been built into this story, right? Because genuinely, Jesse Daniels was the owner of AWA, the wrestling company that existed in Brisbane up until it shut down during COVID. He was the owner of the Australian Wrestling Alliance Academy, which was the training school that got turned into 3 Count that Bobby Bishop now owns. And they're using that in the story, right? Like there's real stuff there. And it makes it feel, for anyone who learns about that stuff through the course of this story, it makes it feel a layer deeper. It makes it feel that little bit more real, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah. That was one of the reasons why I was put there on commentary for that show, is because I know all the history, and I can give that sort of background, whereas Bastion and Dink not so much. Like, Seb was there, but very much on the periphery, whereas I was really in the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. I can tell you what went on with the whole thing. We're both in storyline and behind the scenes.
Yeah. And, you can do that stuff to establish, like, just how much of a jerk Jesse has been for such a long time, right? Like, you've got a heel tag team in Decadence that are both brought in by Jesse Daniels through the Daniels Republic. Like, James Yeager, who's in that tag team, was a crooked ref that Jesse Daniels brought in, right? Like, that's the long-term story goes so far back in him being a heel that can be built off. So,
I like a company that does that. I like wrestlers and a company that goes, we've got a memory for X, Y, and Z. There might only be 4 people in the building that get that reference, but let's play to those 4 people, because everyone else can catch up, as you said, with good commentary and with good video comps and stuff like that.
Exactly. Now,
Jesse's promo laid it out perfectly.
Yeah, it did really a great job. Did a terrific job. Well done, Jesse.
Following that was the PWL Queensland Openweight title on the line, with Trent O'Day defending against EC Diamond. Trent managing to get the win with a small package after a really back and forth matchup. Now, last time we talked about PWL, I noted the reception to Trent O'Day not matching what I thought of Trent O'Day, at least in Pro Wrestling League. And I think this match really spoke to that, where, this was a face versus face match, but EC Diamond got such a positive reception that it led to feeling like Trent was a bit of a heel, right? And I think EC got on the mic after the match to really put some love on Trent O'Day, which is very warranted. And, Trent deserves to be celebrated that way. And I hope we see the PWL crowd understand that more and respond more, because I really love what Trent does in the ring. EC Diamond, again, like we were talking, he actually is, someone who never got a rematch for his title in PWL because he was the last champion. So really exciting stuff going on there. And post-match, a promo from Xander Sullivan from PWL's Third Eye, challenging for a title and it becoming a triple threat with O'Day, Diamond, and Xander Sullivan for the next show for the Openweight Championship. Now, Todd, do you want to give us a little bit of a background on that title in terms of these three guys?
Well, Diamond was pretty much going to be like the main. He was the guy that AWL, which was AWA and PWL, had
pre-COVID.
Merged. Yeah, pre-COVID, and Diamond was pretty much the one that we were going to strap the rocket to. He was the guy that was, because he's young, great worker, great connection with the crowd. So he was the one that we're going to build the company going forward around this kid because he's great. He's amazing. Great worker. Xander was, again, he was someone who the crowd loved as well. The one dude, who had, he literally had a big forehead that was given, the boys at the school and just, mates would give him shit about his forehead, turned it into a gimmick and actually made a shitload of money out of it. Forehead. And the crowd loved him. Crowd absolutely loved. He was in a tag team called Headstrong because one of them was strong and he had a big forehead. It was and he's gone because he wanted to expand his knowledge and blah blah with wrestling. So he moved to Sydney and has been training with PWA for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, something like that.
And now he's got this third eye gimmick, which is very conspiratory and. Yeah, I really dig his promos, really dig the style, really dig the look. And, he's coming up for the next show to be a part of this three-way. As for the match, the match was really good. I think, you talked about last show, the last time we reviewed this, I think Trent was a little thrown off by how the crowd weren't really... But I'd also told, the owner of Pro League when he booked this match, this is going to be really hard for Trent because... the crowd just love EC. They just do. So invariably they're going to pick EC over Trent. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with it. So, but it was good.
And
it was a really good match.
Because Trent typically works in Townsville where he's got the crowd in the palm of his hand up there. Really, truly, whatever he sells, they buy in Townsville. So I think that is, coming into it a little bit where he is very used to being able to get across what he's doing. And the fact that it's coming across a bit less to the Brisbane crowd, I think maybe can throw him a little bit. Jeff, what did you think of the match?
I like this match. For me, this was match of the night. I think that they're both so good that there was no way this wasn't going to be a good match. I've got a question for you, Todd. Is there a perceivable reason the crowd are souring on Trent almost? I mean, beyond the whole Townsville Brisbane thing, is there a reason, or is it just one of those things?
It's just one of those things, and also he hasn't been, and I say this in the most respectful possible way to the bookers of Pro League. He hasn't been booked incredibly strong as a babyface. Every challenger he seemed to have had has been another babyface.
Yeah, right.
So, because I think the first one was Zeke, if I'm right, Lachlan.
Correct, Zeke Andino.
Yeah, Zeke
very
Andino
strong babyface.
Is a very strong babyface down here. And EC Diamond is the thing with EC is that the crowd, he has grown up with that crowd. Yeah. They've seen him since he like JJ Avery. We were talking before. JJ Avery, 18-year-old, blah blah. EC was working matches when he was 17. Under a mask. And so they've seen him do the maturation from the mask to taking the mask off to becoming EC Diamond, then to becoming EC Diamond, the mid-card guy, then EC Diamond, the main event guy. So they've grown with him. So he's got a very strong bond with that crowd where you could notice he just turned and looked to the crowd and they would start cheering for him because they've got that connection. So it's really hard for someone like Trent who's really... If he's really only working Pro League, then he's in front of a Brisbane crowd 4 times a year. So it's really hard to get that connection 4 times a year.
Yeah.
And I'll also
that would be my answer. Not anything to do with his work or anything like that. Just a connection thing.
Yeah. And specifically in Pro League, he had only had, I think, a couple of matches before becoming the open weight champion. And I know that I think out of those 2 matches, one of them was a loss to Tim Hayden in a triple threat, and the other one was as part of a tag team in Bro Day. So he, was a tag team guy and then lost a triple threat match, and then all of a sudden won a 6-man ladder match to win that title. So I think that the PWL crowd specifically hasn't seen him kind of come up and persevere to be at that level. They've kind of seen him show up and then be champion. So I wonder if that's got something to do with it. But his work is fantastic.
Oh, he's a great wrestler. Like bell to bell, this was so entertaining and so very, very good. I really like both of their character work. But yes, I too noted that EC had to get on the microphone and really sort of go, hey, there's an O'Day something. Have a look at him.
Yeah.
So,
And he is.
He is. So hopefully from here he begins to get a bit more sort of love generically.
Absolutely. So from a really quality singles match to a little bit of chaos in a 5-way PWL #1 contendership match with Billy Mack, CJ Chris Johnson, Mitch McCarthy, Renegade, and Rip Riley. This one eventually being won by Mitch McCarthy, who is kind of a Queensland legend. Todd shakes his head. When I got into Queensland wrestling and, coming through, he had a Kings of Queensland tag team that he was in and was a really strong, reliable guy for many years. And, behind the scenes owns Pro League, right? Or is part of the booking committee or something, has some connection. We know that because he comes out at shows with the microphone and announces stuff, or has in the past. So it's good to see him back in the ring. And he also, thinking back, never got a rematch for his Pro Wrestling League title, which he defended against Rip Riley in an insane hardcore match. And then EC Diamond came in with a contract and cashed in, and rematch never happened. So he's also kind of owed this #1 contendership that he got in a bit of a chaotic match here. I really like everyone involved in this match. Obviously, I've got a big connection to Mitch. Billy Mack is, I think, a really reliable hand from the women's division who can go in there, go one-on-one with all the guys really strongly. CJ just looks like a beast. He is jacked. He looks like what someone imagines when they think of a pro wrestler. Rip Riley is just the ultimate monster heel. He's fantastic. And Renegade is one of my favorite pro wrestlers, full stop. I love Renegade. So I think this match had all of the pieces and it put them together in something that was chaotic but made sense the whole way through and managed to tell a lot of story without going for too long. So I was quite impressed with it. Jeff?
Look, I thought this was a lot of fun. I think visually CJ Chris Johnson has it. He's got it in spades. I really am becoming a fan of Billy Mack. I think she's got a lot to offer. And Renegade stands out probably because of a lot of what you guys have said about Renegade in the past, that he's just quality. And I wasn't disappointed at all. I was quite happy that Mitch won. But obviously there's too many Mitches on the show, so we need to get rid of one of them. And that is Mitch Ryder. What a piece of shit.
I really like Mitch McCarthy's style because it is very old school brawler. His nickname is Smash Face, and that's exactly what it is, right?
Yes.
It's boots to asses, big punches, big kicks, all that sort of stuff. And I think that gives a really nice texture to matches. It makes things feel aggressive, and it makes wrestling feel like a contest, which I really like. Todd?
Yeah.
No, can't stand Mitch. You can fuck off. No.
Hey,
there we go.
He's your client, though. He's your client.
Different
Stop
guy.
talking about it in that way.
Different one, and you know it. They call him the big horse. Mitch Ryder's going to take him out, just like you do a good old horse. When they're not useful anymore, you take them behind the shed, and that's what's going to happen to old Mitchie. It's unfortunate, though, because he's a nice guy.
I will mention that this Mitch versus Mitch feud has been building for a little while. They've been going back and forth a little bit, so that doesn't surprise me that Todd's given us that. Anyway, leading into the main event, three-way for the PWL title, Outback Adam, Mitch Ryder, Sam Cannon, Outback Adam managing to retain in this triple threat match. And I'll talk about what comes after, but then we'll come back to the triple threat. After managing to retain, out came Outback Adam's Joey's as well as Combat Wombat to celebrate. And then Combat Wombat drops down and hits a low blow and unmasks to reveal that it wasn't Combat Wombat at all. It was Rufio, who cashes in and his prize from the PWL Rumble for a match and becomes the new PWL champion. So before we talk about the Rufio, let's talk about the triple threat match here, because this is just num. Love this kind of triple threat match where you've got Outback Adam is such a fiery baby face who is good in ring, but I think his character is such an obvious strength. And then Sam Cannon is just it just encapsulates what it means to be a massive threat. Right? The dude is so huge and yet does these beautiful moonsaults. It's incredible. And Mitch Ryder, Todd and I can talk all day about how much we think of Mitch Ryder. He's just the best. He's so good. He is so damn good. So I think this match really delivered on that. All three of these guys knew exactly what they had to do and they delivered. That's what I think on this triple threat. Jeff?
I'm certainly not going to argue with you. It delivered in spades. I agree with Outback Adam. I wouldn't mind seeing him as a heel at some point.
I've constantly pushed. Yeah, I've constantly pushed doing Inner City Adam. He hates the bush. Inner City Adam.
Yeah.
Still got a nice
crocodile skin boots. I keep saying it. Crocodile skin boots.
Like when Bailey, took the razors to the Bailey buddies. Imagine him taking a razor to the crocodile, and just the booze would be amazing. I think he'd be really good, but I digress. This match was terrific, and it was always going to be. Sam Cannon's a great hand. Mitch Ryder, there's nothing you can say about him that hasn't already been said. He's got and deserves all of the superlatives that he receives. And Outback Adam, is quality. He seems to have improved so much from show to show. So he's clearly accepting and listening to feedback. So between the last show and this show, the only thing I will say, and I don't know about anyone else, but the second that Combat Wombat walked out, I went, "Oh, that's Rufio," because the body shape was so different.
He doesn't have the gut.
Yeah. I was telling him, put a fucking pillow down there or something. So
do something to at least suspend my disbelief for 30 seconds. Speaking of, I've just gotten a text message from Edward Dusk. Lachlan, you're in a bit of trouble, mate. Sorry.
Of course I am.
Just letting you know. There's nothing I could do about it. It's not on my hands. Dusky showing up at your place.
Please don't give him my address. Please.
But no, this was, in all seriousness, this was great. And a really good ending. The kind of ending that makes you want to see the next show. And that's all you can ask for with wrestling.
I will mention I don't think Outback Adam's going to turn heel just because I think he likes having ring gear that he can get from Kmart for $15 too much.
It's never seen an iron.
Never.
Has it at least seen a washing machine? Because I know a few people have told me that. All right.
I also really enjoyed the cash in here. I think that this is a way to do a cash in that makes sense because he could have just added himself to the match, but that just poses more risk, right? So why not get in, lay a big move in first when it's not expected, after Adam's already injured, and then be in a situation where you're going to take the title. And I think heel Rufio is a perfect champ for this company, right?
And that's Rufio can really go. Like,
oh yeah,
he can really, really do it. I was very impressed with his in-ring work, but for the submission. So, and that'll work out. He'll get that. That'll come together.
Rufio is also someone who elevates his opponents, and I think that I quite like having heels be the champions and faces making the chase. I tend to think that that's more exciting because otherwise you either end up with, heels in the chase, which doesn't really make sense because you kind of get you want the babyface to be the underdog, right? So if they're the champion, they're not quite the underdog unless it's constantly disposing of monster heels who are, I'm this big threat, go away. Now I'm a big threat, go away. That can get a bit boring.
Which is exactly why Cody's going to have the belt for a long time, because he's the Uber heel.
So I really like Rufio as the champion.
No, because we'll talk about that after the break, because there's something that's been... I read today on Twitter, and I've been thinking about it more, and I'm like, you know what? That's not bad. So we'll talk about that later, though. This is about Australian wrestling right now.
I like Rufio as the champ with Adam theoretically on the chase. Todd, how did you feel about... I know that you had Mitch Ryder in the match, so disappointed that he didn't win, but I'll also mention after the match what happened, that... obviously, Todd grabbed a microphone, as he does, and yelled about how Mitch Ryder still wasn't pinned, so he still hasn't gotten a fair rematch, so he's still number one contender. And then Mitch McCarthy, who won the number one contendership in that five-way, came out and said, well, how about this? Rufio's champion, Outback Adam needs a rematch, Mitch apparently needs a rematch, I've earned my number one contendership, there we go, four-way for the title next show, which I think is a very exciting prospect. Todd, what did you think of the performances in the match and the choice of having Rufio cash in?
The choice, great, perfect. That's the way you do that sort of thing. There was a different way it was going to go, and I will tell you guys off air what the other way might have went. But Sam Cannon once again proved how underrated. Yeah, how underrated he is. How underrated. And Adam has grown into his role more as progressive as shows go on. Cause it's I know we all we talk about it all the time, everyone wants to be the champion, that's the goal at the end of the day. But wanting to be the champion then and actually realizing what you have to do when you are the champion, they are two very big different things. And a lot of people they think that they want it until they get it. And then they're like, oh shit. I'm carrying this whole show. I feel like I'm carrying this whole show because, in a sense, you're the last thing that they see. So you are.
Well, look at
he's grown into that role.
Eddie couldn't do it. Eddie,
Guerrero
famously could not handle being champ.
So, but yeah, he's grown into that role, and I can't talk more about Mitch. Mitch should be working every show around the state, around the country.
If you are a wrestling booker in Australia and you are not reaching out to Mitch every show that you've got to say, hey, any chance you're available, you're a fool. The guy is unbelievable. He is...
And I know that would mean, essentially the end of my managing career, and I'd be fine with that because he's a great worker and he deserves to be seen by more people.
And not to break the illusion too much either, as far as, someone to work with, painless. Right? Gets in, does the job he needs to do, wants to make other people look good, and puts on some of the best matches in the country. What a superstar. Absolute legend. So, can't say enough good things. Overall, I think Chaos Theory was a really solid show. And again, if you want to check it out, free on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search for Pro Wrestling League. Their channel has multiple Pro Wrestling League events for free on YouTube that you can go watch, including this one, which was Chaos Theory. And you get to hear Todd talk nonsense over the top of it, or you can put it on mute. It's up to you.
Yeah, don't let that pull you off. The link to the show will be in the... If you're listening to the podcast, the link to the show will be in the description. So, there you go.
Yeah, no reason not to watch it. Let's talk about what else is going on just around the world of Aussie wrestling before we head to a break. First off, tomorrow night as we go live, Friday the 14th, on Triller Plus at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, is PWA's King of the Metro. The PWA heavyweight title is going to be on the line as Jessica Troy defends against Delta. There's going to be a 30-person King of the Metro Rumble match. The winner of Ricky South versus Big Fudge is going to enter the PWA Rumble. There's also a tag team title Sydney street fight between the Joker and the Thief and Aaron Jake and Belle Pierce. What a stacked card to be able to get on Triller Plus live for free tomorrow night.
Yeah, and this one sort of snuck up on us too, because I honestly, and I'm pretty much always on the socials, I didn't see a hell of a lot about when this was on. It sort of really crept up on me. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the only shame about this is that heavyweight title match is a bit of a foregone conclusion. If you've got your finger up and you know which way the wind blows. But I'm really interested in Fudge and Ricky. I mean, I think that the example should win. But maybe they're ending this feud. Maybe this.
It's been a long time coming.
Maybe this is the point where my chocolate friend wins. I'm not sure. I like them both. They're both excellent at what they do. Their character work is fantastic. And if you want to see someone who's improved in ring, just look at Big Fudge. Just look at him. So much better in ring than he was even a year ago. The break did him wonders. Look, I'm so looking forward to that. I think it's going to be wonderful.
And while we're talking PWA, imminently, it's going to go live on Kickstarter, is PWA Enter the Coliseum, the trading card game. So if you're interested in checking that out, head to pwatcg.com. And so you can get your starter decks and get some booster packs and then lose to me, because I am going to be the top-rated Enter the Coliseum player in the world. No doubt about that. Also coming up in a... You think there's a PWA trading card game and I'm not going to be number one? Come on, get off it. There's also going to be Ballroom Brawl on Saturday. This one's streaming live 7 p.m. on Saturday.
I think I actually heard your virginity growing back.
MCW Ballroom Brawl, Saturday the 15th of June, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. You can get it on streamhorizon.com.au for just $4.99. That one's going to include, alongside, obviously, the Ballroom Brawl match, an 8-man tag match with Icons and Jarvis versus UGG, the Natural Classics, and Tommy Knight. The Inter-Commonwealth title on the line between Delta and Robbie Thorpe. Pardon me, and the MCW women's title match on the line with Erica Reed defending against Cherry Stevens. And if you're in Melbourne and didn't manage to get a ticket, because it is sold out, for just $10 you can get access to the exclusive fan site at the Thornbury Tap House. There's going to be multiple big screens showing the sold-out Ballroom Brawl live from the Thornbury Theatre. There's also going to be special Ballroom Brawl themed drinks and food, merchandise, appearances by MCW wrestlers, Tap House takeover prizes to be won, and more. If you are a Ballroom Brawl ticket holder, you can get free pre-show and post-show access. Tickets for that at mcwtix.com.au. That's mcwtix.com.au. Also, if you want to check out... Sorry.
Before we go further as well, who do you think is going to win these, like both the Rumbles? Because we haven't really talked about that. Like, who do you think is going to win the Metro? Who do you think is going to win the Ballroom Brawl?
It's really big questions, right? The Metro... All right, well, let's start with the Ballroom Brawl. That's one that we've kind of talked about possibilities for a bit more. My heart says Edward Dusk. I think that this is the moment that the switch is going to flip. We're into full face Edward Dusk coming for Slex. So I think that's what we're going to see there. Opinion from you, Todd, for Ballroom Brawl?
Yeah, it's hard because they haven't really built any other baby faces aside from, like, say, Tommy Knight, which Tommy already has a guaranteed title match, if I'm not if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Jeff, have you
So
got any
it's like-
thoughts for who might win the ballroom brawl?
There's two that are in my mind. I agree with you. One is definitely Dusky, and the other one is Jarvis.
Ooh,
that's not a bad shout.
Yeah, to start sowing some seeds. Also, because let's be honest, it's inevitable. He is going to hold that belt eventually, whether as a heel or as a huge baby face. Jarvis is going to hold that belt. So I think it could go either way. Either of those two is a good shout. Last year it was a bit of a foregone conclusion. I think most people expected Slex to win it. This year, less so. It just and who knows who else? Who else we're going to get? Anyway, continue.
As for King of the Metro, I've only got one guess, but it's someone that I don't even know if they're going to be in the match. Have you got any predictions for King of the Metro, Todd?
I'd see. Because it is like the King of the Metro can pick whatever title that they want. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Tuckman and he went back after Robbie.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But
Jeff, any thoughts?
No, Lockie, I'd like to hear yours first.
The only name I can think that would, and I think it's just wishful thinking, but I would really like to see Madison Eagles win it.
That's who I was going to say.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I'd love to see Madison win it because if she goes after Robbie, that is amazing. If she goes after Jess, that is phenomenal.
Do you know what I found? And I don't know if this means anything at all, but for some weird reason in my Facebook things today, something came up going like follow Madison Eagles page.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything, or if somehow it's been activated again, and that's why the shout out went to people, the certain people like that. But yeah, it was just weird that you mentioned it. And I'm like, I only got that thing today saying Madison Eagles page, blah blah. There was no activity on it, but it was just like a follow. I just felt
like
really
it's been logged into for the first time in a while or something.
Yeah. So who knows, mate? That's not a bad shout though.
I'm going to share with you after I finished watching Chaos Theory last night. I put on a random shimmer, and it was during Madison's amazing reign. And I can't remember. I think she was facing Daisy Hayes. Yeah, I think she was facing Daisy Hayes. Fuck, she was. You forget how amazing
she was the best women's wrestler in the world. Full stop, no question.
Yeah.
Tim Wilkes thinks Charlie
Evans, not a bad shout either. Build into, her and Jess, very good friends.
Bamboo Jukin,
big name.
Dan Archer. Bamboo, not a bad call. Dan is definitely due a big win, but I don't know if it's coming this year. He might be the guy that
Lachlan and I really talked him up last episode when we reviewed Slam too.
Yeah,
good work.
I did hear that on a drive back from Albury, but I think that he's going to be in the Rumble, but he's probably going to be the guy who's in and gets 15 eliminations or something. Like he'll be a star in the making for a future event rather than straight to the top.
But it's good seeing like him and Luke Watts are doing PWA and then MCW back to back this weekend. So great exposure for those two guys.
That's great, and Luke's terrific. Luke's a good worker,
Yeah, Keanu agrees Dusk for MCW and Charlie for PWA, so we'll see how that goes. But look, no matter which way the results go, you'll be able to find them out by watching those shows or right here on Wrestle Radio Australia. Another show that we should talk about in Melbourne is Renegades of Wrestling with their next show on Sunday, the 28th of July. That's going to feature Gino Gambino versus Lockie Hendricks in a steel cage match. So that's going to be, especially because we've seen the crowning, I guess, of Lockie Hendricks as the king of Australian wrestling as part of that storyline. Seeing him take it to Gino in a steel cage is going to be very exciting.
No, I didn't.
There are also rumors of something else too.
Yeah, I've heard there's something big. Something big. I'm not sure what it is, but I've heard from a couple of people. There's big news to come from Renegades. Now, I'm absolutely... I was quite sad to miss Sunday's show, but people are saying how great it was. People are saying it was a top-notch show, headlined by UGG versus M, and the TLC match apparently was quite excellent.
Awesome. And if you want to hear the results of all of these huge things that are going on this weekend, the best place to do it, 8 p.m. Thursday nights at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. So hit follow there so you get notified when we go live. It is us. You can follow us at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow Wrestle Radio Australia on Facebook. We're going to be back very soon to talk about what's going on around the world of wrestling right after this.
Do you want to be a pro wrestler? Then sign up now to the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling.
Located 50 minutes west of Melbourne with a full gym, strength and conditioning coaches, a nutritionist, and world-traveled professional wrestling coaches to help you achieve your goals in professional wrestling business. Whether you want to be a wrestler, a manager, referee, or just involved in the industry, with no tryout required, the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling is here to help you achieve your goals.
All you have to do to start your journey is sign up now to be relentless.
Yes, Relentless Pro. The funny thing about that is that not just was it last Sunday. While the long weekend was going on, I sat down. I did a watch along of Mayhem Pro Showcase show, which is bigger their training school and stuff like that. Jamie Angus has said he watched along with it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. Slug Racing also said love the Mayhem watch along type thing. So yeah. If you on our Twitch and you subscribe to our Twitch and you get the notifications of when stuff's happening, you'll see that every now and then on a Sunday I'll pop on and I'll just do a watch along of some Aussie wrestling and like break it down, give my thoughts, talk about it, all that sort of stuff. Usually at the moment it's because we like preview we review and stuff the big shows. It's normally like a showcase, like a training school show, something like that. So we can look at the future of the guys coming through for these big shows, and we talk about the stuff. And the Mayhem show was really good. There's some really promising people coming up that we saw and talking about. Of course, I'm a massive fan of Nate Hunter. I think he's going to be big, hopefully sooner rather than later, because I think the kid's got it, and it'll be good to see what more he can do with Mayhem Pro, and hopefully branching out to other promotions. I think the boys are back. There they are. I'll just unmute them because I muted them in case somebody burped or farted or did something.
One of the boys is back.
There you go. Oh, he was back for a second.
I can burp and fart if you'd like. There, Todd.
Thanks, buddy. But yeah, like I was saying last weekend, I watched along with the Mayhem Pro school showcase. Really interesting, really good show. Like set a lot of things up for their Anarchy Rules, I think the name of the show is coming up, and yeah, I'd say they debuted some people. I'm not quite sure, but it looked like there was a couple of guys there that were just learning the ropes, and it's interesting. It was an interesting show. So if you want, it's still in the archives. It's still on YouTube. You can go back and watch it. But if you don't want to hear me and you just want to watch the show, go to Mayhem Pro's YouTube channel. The show's up there for you to watch for free. So I do encourage you guys to go and do that and support professional wrestling in Australia.
Yeah, another option is, I believe the playback is up at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. So if you do want to hear Todd's thoughts on it, you can go there and watch along with him. Obviously, you won't be able to be part of the chat the way people were able to live on Sunday, but hey, that's the price for doing it later, right? That's the price of convenience.
Yeah, and also like not picking us over the Mayhem show. There's no commentary on the Mayhem show, so if you want to hear a bit of talking, then it's an easier way to do it, I guess. We'll go a little bit more Australian international news before before Geoff comes back and we can promo the rest of the stuff going on. Shane Haste and Mikey Nichols of Team DK won the IWGP tag titles and the New Japan Strong tag team titles at Dominion. So they'll be on, I think they're on one of the AEW shows this weekend in a tag. So that's going to be good to see.
It's really good to see those boys getting the respect that they deserve. Like, they just do really, really good work. We've been saying for a long time that they deserve those titles, so it's nice to see them hold them.
I'm hoping that this means that like, being that they're on, and again, I cannot remember for the life of me which one it is of the AEW shows this weekend, that might lead to them defending maybe the tag titles on Forbidden Door. So
potentially,
yeah.
And it was a good match that they had, because it was against Bullet Club. Sorry, the match that they had to get those titles was. Am I coming through?
Yeah, you are now, mate.
Cool. The match that they had to earn those titles was against Chase Owens and Kenta as Bullet Club, Gorillas of Destiny, who were the strong champions, and Bishamon, who unfortunately were the people who beat out Aussie Open for those titles. So nice to see the victory there for TMDK.
Yes, yeah. Long overdue. Long overdue for
I would agree. Massively overdue. And the crew's back together, so welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. Talking about WWE, we've got Clash at the Castle ready to go. There they are. Thanks, boys. Can always count on you. World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest is going to be defending against Drew McIntyre with Judgment Day banned from ringside, though the person not banned from ringside, I guess, is one person who has been pursuing Dominic Mysterio, and we'll talk about that more later. WWE Heavyweight Champion Cody Rhodes is defending against AJ Styles in an I Quit match. The Women's Champion Bayley will be defending against Piper Niven. The Intercontinental title will be on the line with Sami Zayn defending against Chad Gable. And the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship will be on the line with Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defending against both the team of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn and the team of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. So a couple of things have been added, including the women's tag match and the I Quit stipulation to the heavyweight title match. The WWE title match, as well as the World Heavyweight title match, having Judgment Day banned from ringside. Do we think that those changes are going to lead to changes in our predictions of which way those matches are going? I'm going to jump in and say that I don't think it being an I Quit match suddenly means Cody Rhodes is going to lose his title.
No, absolutely not. But it does make it interesting. I thought the great match was the great match was fantastic. The first match was fantastic. A couple of people have said to me, hi Leon, if you're listening. A couple of people have said to me that they thought that the crowd hijacked the match a little bit and kind of ruined it. I don't necessarily agree. I think the crowd added to it. That first match in France, but I do think this will be something special. They've got so much chemistry, the two of them, with Styles as the amazing babyface and Cody Rhodes as that jacket-wearing heel, that it just really, they blend together so well that it's going to be a terrific match. I think Styles is now at that point in his career where he's actually a little difficult to boo. He's that good and that respected that he's hard to boo. But nonetheless, I do think this will be great. I think with Judgment Day barred from ringside, almost guarantees that Priest is going to win that title now. Because Cranky Phil's not barred from ringside, let's be honest. He may be there. I thought that's who you're going to go with. But no, you went with Liv Morgan. Fine.
Yeah. So for anyone who wasn't watching, Liv Morgan has been pursuing Dominic Mysterio even more doggedly, offering him a hotel key, which was surreptitiously stolen And if you had keen eyes, you would notice it was Finn Balor taking that room key off the table there. So this story is continuing to advance and become a focal point for Judgment Day, as well as this. I would say it's been more of a focal point for Judgment Day than the World Heavyweight Championship has been, which,
yes,
you know, that speaks to what the composition of that team looks like at the moment. Todd, do you think we're getting a new women's tag team champions?
I think we might be getting a new WWE heavyweight champion.
Wow.
I read something today on Twitter, and we talked about this before the break, right? And I can't remember who it was, so whoever it was, I apologize for hijacking your post, because it just, for me, it hit me, and like, wow, that's, you know what? Cody, we all know Cody loves his dad. And what does his dad love doing? He loves booking like 3-match sort of arcs.
Mm-hmm.
What's a better arc than they have their first match, then the second match progresses to an I Quit match, Cody loses the title and then wins it back in the third match down the line. The reason I say this, it's an I Quit match. Now, baby faces, they don't really say I quit just because they can, like, they're in a painful hold, and they do say I quit if their mother is in the crowd and somebody threatens their mum. And guess who's on to jet to Scotland with Cody Rhodes?
Yep.
Mama Rhodes.
Yep. There's a storyline.
So I'm saying Mama Rhodes is there. Maya Yim's in the crowd. The Good Brothers are there. It's not a bad idea if they could do it and then stretch this thing out for like one of the bigger shows for the payoff.
Can I please give a counterpoint to this? And it's a simple counterpoint. It's a simple counterpoint. I think if Mama Rhodes was going to get involved in matches, she already would have done so at WrestleMania. I think Michelle Rhodes, the person, doesn't want to be involved. She just wants to go and support her son, who she loves. I think that there's a definite fine line. They might show her on camera, and if anything, it's a possibility, but I just doubt it. I just kind of think that it's Cody. Cody's going to keep the title for now.
Alrighty.
I just, because we all know how much Cody loves telling stories. This is a great story to tell. This is a great story to tell.
No doubt. No doubt. And I wouldn't be upset if you do.
We'll mention the latest QR code for the Wyatt 6 had a countdown that stops next Monday night on Raw. So for anyone who's been keeping up on that, seems like there might be some kind of reveal on Monday night. Additionally, WWE's Io Sky is to wrestle Utami Hayashishita at Marigold Summer Destiny, which is brilliant. If you saw the Hayashishita match from just the other night, that's going to go off like a frog in a sock. It was also revealed that WWE and Noah will be making a major announcement at Noah's Grand Ship 2024 show in Yokohama this Sunday, and a message from a, quote, certain wrestler will also be released, was the statement. The big news coming out of WWE, though, is about Ricochet's contract. It's scheduled
Can we finish running down the card of Clash at the Castle?
Oh, sorry.
Did we not?
Yeah. What match do you want to talk about, Geoff?
Which match? I do think that one person is definitely going to lose their title, and I think Sammy is going to lose to Chad Gable.
He has to.
I think it's Sammy is a great wrestler as someone chasing a heel.
You know what? If he doesn't, then that means that Chad's gone. I think.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I did want to talk about this match, which is why I sort of stopped you there for a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Before you got on too much of a roll. But I think it's Chad's time to win. I think Chad's doing the work of his career. People have bought into the heel turn lock, stock, and barrel, which is a credit to both Chad and Sammy. There's still going to be people. I'm going to be thrilled when Chad wins. I think he's almost certainly going to win on Sunday. And I think it's going to be because of a backfired Otis interference, not to drag that on too much longer. and then on Monday we'll get the full turn. Like Otis will turn full babyface on Monday and wallop Chad and be sick of his bullshit. I absolutely think that's going to happen, and I think that's the only title that's
they're already babyfaces. Otis is already a babyface. The only people in that stable that are babyfaces is Chad.
And isn't he doing a great job staying here?
He's doing a great job of it. Yeah.
Well, they're all.
But like, don't discount the job that Otis is doing as well.
Oh, he's brilliant.
The level of storytelling they did too. When Sammy this week on Raw was talking to Otis backstage, and they're like, "Why do you listen to him? Why do you follow him?" And then Otis just unloads about everything that's happened in his character over the last X amount of years.
Yeah,
and said that Chad was there for me for the whole thing. I lost my peach, I lost my money in the bank, I lost my Tucky.
I lost Dana. It was brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, and Chad was there. So like the level of storytelling going into it, and knowing that like he's done all this stuff, so Chad can mentally manipulate. This is why he can mentally manipulate Otis, and it's not the fact that he loves what's her face and Tozawa. He thinks of her as his sister, and that's his brother.
Yeah.
They're family. So they've completely separated any like love thing that might have been going on with those two, and just made it as a family thing, that he loves them and their family and he wants to protect them. So if he leaves Chad, he leaves those two just with Chad. Yeah. So he's going to want to stay to protect those two because they're his family. I love this. I love that side of it.
Yeah, really great storytelling going on, which is crazy because, when it was WrestleMania, we were talking about how much they had dropped the ball in terms of Gable by not having him be the one to dethrone Gunther. And while I still think that would have been the better way to go, the storytelling they're doing here is just masterful.
I mean, I honestly don't think Chad's going to go anywhere because he's getting such good reactions in the current role, and he's clearly enjoying himself. He did an interview a couple of weeks ago where he actually said it's so much easier to be this role because I'm a disciplinarian. He is naturally a disciplinarian with his kids, and you could see that in the kids' adoration of him. Like, clearly the kids are, not on thumb, but clearly he runs a tight ship. I think this is fantastic. I think this is great storytelling, and I think he is wonderful doing this role.
Oh, yeah. And as Tim Wilkes mentions, PW Insider reporting he's signed a new deal, which doesn't surprise me at all. Speaking of new deals, Ricochet's contract is scheduled to expire this summer, and PW Insider reports cited multiple sources stating that the 35-year-old told WWE wasn't coming back after his current deal was up. Since that, we've had an indication that it might not be the case, with Dave Meltzer reporting that, quote, according to those close to the situation, everything is up in the air. Ricochet was seemingly written out of WWE television with an angle on Monday Night Raw. Quote, after suffering a brutal attack at the hands of Bron Breakker this past Monday on hashtag WWE Raw, Ricochet will be out of action for an undisclosed amount of time with upper body injuries, coming from WWE on Twitter. This, and I mentioned to the boys before we started, if Ricochet was 100% going elsewhere, they would not have given him such a heroes out with injury babyface write-off, I don't think. The way that they wrote him off with Bron Breakker smashing him into a car was exactly the setup you have for him to come back and get revenge on Breakker.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things was, and I'll give it credit to my friend Heath. I think it's at least he's funny on Twitter. It's a good follow. He said he messaged me as soon as it happened. He goes, "You know what? I was all in on them just writing Ricochet off and thinking this is what was going to happen until they added Samantha to the gimmick."
Yeah.
When they added Samantha in the gimmick, I've gone, oh, they've left this way open for him to come back now.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just having her run out and join and go, and they made a point of showing that and all of that sort of gimmick.
Yep, Samantha left in the ambulance with him, and like all that.
Not my chicken salad, but Pat McAfee was hilarious at ring announcing the main event. He was so funny.
All right, so go over to the other side of the Forbidden Door. That's right, AEW has got Forbidden Door coming up, and here's the lineup. World Champion Swerve Strickland defending against Will Ospreay. NJPW Champion John Moxley will defend the IWGP title against Tetsuya Naito. There's a ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship with Konosuke Takeshita, Mark Briscoe, Jack Perry, and to be announced. There's a title for title match with TBS champion Mercedes Moné against New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women's champion Stephanie Vaquer. The AEW Women's Championship will be on the line with Toni Storm defending against Mina Shirakawa, and Jeff Cobb has issued an open challenge for his NJPW TV title at Forbidden Door. I really like Jeff Cobb. I'm excited to see what that match could be because I think he is one of the most underrated wrestlers around. Man is a freak athlete who puts on really good matches.
Also,
Again,
I believe Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy.
They're
might also be
definitely
on the card.
building towards that, right?
Yeah.
Now,
Look, there has to be another 67 matches added, otherwise it's not an AEW. Oh, let's be honest.
but it's what we always say. None of these matches should be bad. Strickland Ospreay should be great. Moxley Naito should be really good, even if we've seen bits of it before. Takeshita, Briscoe, Jack Perry, and someone else in a ladder match, that's going to be chaos. It'll be fun. Monet versus Vaquer, we'll see. It should be good. Toni Storm versus Shirakawa is going to be, fun, building off the storytelling they've been doing there. That's going to be a delight to see. Jeff Cobb can, wrestle his ass off. It should be a good show. It's just, I don't know how much more is going to get added to it.
Well, do you know what that doesn't annoy me, but I find it weird, right? Because they really didn't have to go with this so early, like Ospreay and Strickland. Because you've got two AEW guys fighting for the AEW tag titles. AEW title. But then you've got New Japan AEW for the New Japan title. You've got it's all AEW for the ladder match.
Strong versus AEW for the women's and
Toni Storm. You know what I mean? Everything else is a mix except for that world title. Whereas you could have gotten somebody from, if you really want to put Strickland over, put Evil in that spot. Because there's no one's going to cheer Evil, but no one's going to cheer Evil over Strickland.
That's true.
Here's my point. I don't care. They're making it increasingly hard for me to care. Genuinely buy into these. Not only because of the frequency, but because the booking in general is so bad. Yeah, sure. Let's just put Ospreay against Strickland. But I don't care. Make me care.
It's hard having a show called Forbidden Door where every week you're kind of doing this stuff on TV anyway.
Yeah. If Shirakawa is on literally every week.
Yeah. Takeshita has probably fought all three of his opponents.
Yeah.
On different
Takeshita is an AEW roster member.
Yeah.
And don't get me started on Mark Briscoe because they pinned him this week. They pinned the Ring of Honor champion. Sure, it was our boy Kyle Fletcher, but it doesn't matter. They still pinned the Ring of Honor champion this week on TV.
I just don't. Sorry, get me. Make me buy into this. Make me believe and buy into it.
Yeah. So in other AEW news, we've had Pac and Shingo Takagi entering the Owen Hart Cup, joining Bryan Danielson so far.
See, that's a match. If you want to do the first round of the Owen Cup. Do the first round of the Owen Cup at Forbidden Door, Danielson, Takagi.
That'd be a hell of a match. It'll probably be on the card as well. In addition, Dax Harwood is out of action. He took to social media on Monday and explained that he and Cash Wheeler are being taken off the road so that Harwood can recover from a hematoma he suffered back in April that he'd attempted to work through without telling anyone. He basically said that he didn't want Wheeler losing TV time because he was injured, so he went on and worked anyway, which, we've talked about before. We want to see guys healthy above everything else. So that's, disappointing.
That might explain it. Apparently it happened when he pile drove one of the Bucks onto the ladder or off the ladder at, what's his face? Double or Nothing, I think it is.
That would make sense.
So
the February show. So he spent 4 months working when he shouldn't be.
Anyway, look, obviously we have to talk about chicken salad and chicken shit, but before we do, Todd, did you have something ready for us?
I do, mate. I have a quiz because we'd been talking off air and stuff like that, and Geoff was telling me and telling us how much he loves this new NXT. He loves where NXT is going.
No, I said I like that it's improving.
Okay, there you go. Well, I don't want to misquote you. You said you like that it's improving. So what I thought I would do is, because like the other day I was sitting there and I think I was watching the NBA, and then after the NBA there was bull riding. Professional bull riding was on TV. And the names of these bull riders sounded like NXT wrestlers. So what I thought I would do...
You're going to do bull riders and NXT wrestlers.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I've got descriptions of I've got the names of the guys and the girl. I've got girls as well because I didn't want to be sexist. I've got guys and girls. I've got a made-up fact and a real fact. Like the made-up fact might have been about their bull riding or might have been about their NXT thing. But we'll find out who is a wrestler and who is a bull rider.
Wrestler or rodeo, NXT or PWA, we don't know who you are.
Before you start, I just want to say you've got way too much fucking time on your hands. Son.
I really do. I really do. All of this while I was planning a show this weekend. It's amazing.
To even think about this is crazy. Anyway.
Okay. Well, what I might do is we'll go back and forward, okay? So Geoff, I'll let you start, mate. The first name I have is Bronco Nima. So Bronco Nima is either... Oh, you son of... Will you let me finish here? Bronco Nima is either currently ranked 9th in the PBR standings with a career prize money of $178,000, or as a former Division 1 4 player, Nima is used to mauling his opponents and showing no regard for those across from him, something he has brought with him to the squared circle. Is he an NXT worker or is he a bull rider?
I'm going to maintain that he's a bull rider.
He is an NXT worker.
Hey!
Bronco Nima.
Bronco Nima. There we go. He's not on the TV show, so give me a break.
Okay, then I'll move to the women for you.
Okay, all right.
My good friend, because I know you like your Joshi Pro and that, so I figured you might be good at this one.
Say Joshi, Todd. Don't get in trouble.
Oh, I don't care. Lexi Williams. Now, Lexi Williams is either currently 7th in the Women's Rodeo World Championship Breakaway Roping, or she is NXT's resident streamer who isn't afraid to speak her mind, and as long as she backs it up, things indeed look bright for her as a future superstar.
Lexi Williams.
Williams.
I'm gonna go bull rider.
You are correct, sir.
Yes.
Lexi Williams is currently ranked 7th in the Women's Rodeo World Championship Breakaway Roping.
Lachlan, don't be that excited. There are no prizes.
No, there isn't. Just admiration. I'll give you one you probably... no, because that gives it away if I do that. I'm not going to do that. Would you like a girl or a... I'll let you guys choose now. Would you like a female or a male wrestler or rodeo?
Geoff, your turn.
Female, I guess. Don't forget that I'm at the moment quite impaired.
Yeah, no, you're fine. Fallon Forbes. Now, Fallon Forbes is either currently 1st in the Women's Rodeo World Championship Barrel Racing, or did she burst on the scene by scoring wins over the likes of Laura Di Matteo and Aaliyah James before coming up just short against Miko Satomura in an NXT UK Women's title bout?
I think she's rodeo.
She is rodeo. Well done. I tried to throw you off there because I know there's a Fallon Henry.
There's Fallon Henley, and that's
exactly. I'm like, there's another Fallon. They wouldn't have.
I thought there's not going to be 2 Fallons. It would be like having 2 Mitches in a company. Come on.
Who would do that?
All right, give us the decider here, Todd. Give me a guy.
Okay. Okay, Miles Bourne. Miles Bourne is currently ranked 12th in PBR standings with a career prize money of $195,000. Or, after earning his way into their good graces, Miles Bourne aligned himself with Damon Kemp and Charlie Dempsey to form part of the dangerous no-catch quarter crew.
Oh, that's if that's something that you've come up with, it's so realistic. Yeah, that NXT.
You are correct, sir. It is NXT.
Too good, too specific.
Well, you say that, but I took names. I took the background off other NXT performers for the radio people.
That's true.
So
I want to say about NXT. I thought this week's show, whatever it was called on Sunday, was Sunday or Monday, was really good. It wasn't a must watch, but it was really good. Jordan Grace got her earring ripped out.
I saw that. It got caught in thingy's fishnets.
In her fishnets, yeah.
Yeah.
It shows you, and apparently they wanted her. They actually wanted her before she re-signed with TNA, but she was like, "No, I'm comfortable here." But now she's got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Just a really solid show. Not amazing, not the best show of the year, but solid. Like, every match was good. Every match had moments. Obafemi grows from strength to strength. Really does.
Well, speaking of things that we really enjoyed, it's time to give the show its name. Chicken salad and chicken shit. Let's get the negatives out of the way. Who's got a chicken shit that they'd like to fire off?
Geoff, you go, my friend.
Yeah, I think mine, and Todd enunciated this so well, is that at Bullet Club they've got one of the title champions. Like, one of the world title is held by Damian Priest, and yet it seems to be taking a back seat to everything else that's going on in Bullet Club. Like, if R-Truth dips his foot back in...
You mean Judgment Day?
Judgment Day, sorry. If R-Truth puts his foot back in, Judgment Day, the title will go by the wayside. Liv is around, so the title's gone by the wayside. Dominic's a heel, so the title's gone by the wayside. That title should be a focal point, and it's just not. And I think it's demeaning his initial run a little bit.
I will say the promo where Dom showed that he had the hotel room key. That popped me huge. Like,
it was great.
The sell on Finn, and then Carlita just going, "That's cool."
That's cool. That was
That's cool. It's not cool. Oh, okay. It's not cool.
Like, I'm enjoying what they're doing, but I think that the title should be made more important, especially because it's only been around for 18 months. It's a brand new title. It's not an established title.
Yeah.
Todd, have you got one?
Yeah, mate. If you can scroll up to the mailbag.
All right. You want me to read this one out?
Yeah, because then I'll answer that as part of the chicken, because I guess it falls into that category.
And I think I want to say a few words about this as well, but please continue.
I'll quote it. Hey Todd, I came across an interesting video on your views on FWA last show. Yes, it was absolutely disappointing turnout when there is more wrestlers than the crowd. However, you state on how the wrestlers you mention are, quote, really fucking good, Adam Brooks and the Velocities. I recall on Piers Austin's show that you were in, Piers said, quote, no one is a draw in Australia. You brought up Brooks and Robbie Eagles. Is it truly in the case that if you book Brooks or Eagles in your show, you will get an amazing turnout? Do you get profit by paying these draws their dollars booking fee plus hotel and flights? My opinion is that Anthony does not heavily promote their shows. The people in that audience are hardcore fans because I've seen them before. The show happened in my area, and I did not see one advertisement for this last show in Sydney. So is Adam Brooks and Velocities a draws?
Yeah, cause this has been something like, because I've said it, I think I was the actual one who said it on the Piers show that there really isn't anyone in Australian wrestling that is a draw that you can put on a poster, and everyone that sees that poster goes, oh yeah, I know that guy. I want to go and see that man. It's not like a WWE guy or anything like that is on that show. If you get my drift, they are draws in the fact that if you come and see them once, you will come back to see them again. Like, if you have my my statement sort of means like if you have a Velocities, if you have a Robbie Eagles, if you have all these other people on the card that we mentioned last week, your show should be good. By all rights, the level of your show should be a good show. So what is not bringing the people that have come, what's not bringing them back? Why are you only drawing 30 people? If it's because you're putting yourself on top of that show when you have no real reason to be on the top of that show, you're not at the level to be on the top of the show, you as a booker, as an owner, as anyone that is involved in the management of a pro wrestling promotion, you need to be able to step out of what you do on a show and look at that show as an entirety and have a fair view of your own abilities and the abilities of everyone else on that show. To say, look, I know I'm not as good as an Eagles or a Brooks, or I should not be in that main event spot. That's what I mean by it. That's what I mean. Like, you put all these people on a show, that show's going to be a good show. If you're putting yourself on the top of that card, people aren't going to believe that that's a good show because they know what you're like as a worker. That's kind of what I mean. Like, they're not drawers in the fact that you can put them on. Like, Robbie is probably getting as close to anyone at the moment as being a draw in Aussie wrestling, just because of how much he's doing. Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you don't necessarily have to be an Australian wrestling fan. If you're a wrestling fan where you watch New Japan, possibly like you've seen him on Ring of Honor or something like that, or you've heard his name through all these things, then that means that Robbie is approaching being that. But it really, if we're being, and all these people are my friends and I respect them to the utmost, just putting them on a poster does not guarantee sales. Putting people that look like wrestlers on posters, that can get some sales. People that look like athletes, that can get some sales. But just putting like random dudes on a poster, that doesn't get sales. It just doesn't. That's not a draw. The draw is the product. Getting them in, that's the key. Promoting your shows properly, that's the key. Not putting yourself on top if you're not at that level to be able to carry a show, that's the key. All these things make up a good promotion. That's what I mean by that.
I'd also like to say that I think the reaction to your criticism, and I haven't weighed in on this, I have stayed quiet, but your criticisms were fair. They were not personal. They were not attacks. They were wanting to see something get better. The reaction to that was really disappointing because, as you guys know,
the reaction to that was expected, unfortunately, because I knew that's what his reaction was going to be.
But you can, if people are giving their opinions on how to make your shows better, listen to them. WrestleBrania didn't get where it is now overnight. I had people telling me not to work with certain people again, and it took a while, but I did it. I didn't like saying to people, you're not part of the show anymore. It's not an enjoyable thing to do, but you have to do it for the betterment of it.
Keanu Reviews mentioning in chat that his chicken shit, his company is still not doing due diligence when booking someone, and then when called out, just laughing it off. Yep. Absolutely. I'm going to talk about my chicken shit, which is, maybe less impactful here. I'm sick of hearing what CM Punk thinks. Right? He's not on my screen. I don't need to know his opinion. I don't need to know what he thought about Roxanne Perez scrolling through Twitter. I don't need to know whether he asked someone about whether the glass in the car Ricochet was slammed into is real glass. I don't need to know. It doesn't matter. It's not part of the show. It's not going to relate to I don't give a fuck. Like, it's all...
Do you know what I find funny about like scrolling on X is that you see all of these all the pro AEW fans always seem to have a problem about everything. Like any little thing like this, like they had a problem about, because I started writing something and I stopped myself because I'm just like, why are you doing this to yourself? I don't know why you're doing this to yourself. There's like just things AEW fans got mad about this week, an ongoing series. 1, Ethan Page is mid. 2, Punk didn't complain about real glass. That's where I stopped because I got angry. I'm just like, I'm not going to do this to myself. But they always like for a company. Oh, they got mad at the NXT thing with Cody and Ethan and
all the
Alexis
former
King.
AEW guys. Yeah.
And Cody making the quote, you looks like you're in a better place. And then leaving. They got mad about that. And then I saw somebody, like, one of the people summed it up perfectly. And they just remember people, AEW bad, WWE good. And that's when I was just like, fuck you people are fucking soft, aren't you? You really have a victim fucking mentality. I know. I do myself a favor and get off Twitter. I know I should.
Keanu Reviews wrote something interesting here because the CM Punk Roxanne stuff was interesting, and AJ coming back would be cool. But Keanu, I don't think AJ's ever coming back. I think she's well and truly retired and happy.
You know what though? That would not surprise me if that was a breadcrumb that they're starting to do, though. Because otherwise, I don't see the point in like him coming into that promo and her calling him a hypocrite. Because there's not going to be a payoff for him being in a match with her. There's never going to be that payoff.
But yeah, it would be cool. I agree with you. Maybe Serena Deeb's going back to the WWE.
All right,
but
well, let's get a bit more.
I rarely see WWE fans like going off on everything. Like
I do.
Little thing. Do you? Because I don't see that. Maybe it's my algorithm. I don't know. I just get all the AEW.
You weren't around when they were defending Vince the absolute hilt. When they were defending Vince.
I never saw any of that. All I saw was Vince getting what he's coming to him. Like, because that's exactly what it is. Vince is...
No. I mean when they were doing shit like, we know the show's been bad, but it's Baron Corbin's fault. And stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I always was just like, no, that shit's bad.
People were absolutely defending it, and I'm not an AEW fan at the moment. In fact, I'm the opposite. But yeah, WWE fans.
Let's get a bit more positive. Maybe I'll kick off the chicken salads here. My chicken salad was once again an absolutely killer main event in what's the company called? The flower one.
Marigold.
Marigold. Thank you. Marigold had another...
I can't believe I know the name. How do I know the name and you don't?
Glanced off my brain. The Takahashi versus Hayashishita match was unreal. Once again, like, I think Hayashishita is so damn good. Seeing her going up against Io is going to be absolutely spectacular. So far, this company just puts on good shows. So that's excellent. Jeff, do you have a chicken salad?
Mine's a two-parter. Firstly, I really, really like the build to the AJ Cody match. I don't know, like, you're right. AJ might be taking the belt. Cody might be taking the belt. I'd say it's going to stay with Cody in all likelihood. But the build has been really, really well done. The segments on SmackDown was so nicely done. And Cody actually showing some fire and some anger was lovely. The other thing is that they have really made Ludwig Kaiser has become such a great character. And he's done it so subtly and so slowly. And now this match against Sheamus, which Sheamus is likely to win. Kaiser loses nothing because he's going to be in there hanging with Sheamus.
Because he already got a win. He got the win on Raw, so he's already got his win
on Raw. I did like also the segment with Sheamus and McIntyre. Thought that was really nicely done. And Sheamus almost going, I don't like you right now, but you're going for that belt. I want you to have it. That's an interesting thing. They're laying some interesting seeds there. And I think ultimately the long-term storytelling on WWE is great.
Absolutely. And Todd?
Mine will be the way that they've marketed and the way that they've brought Bron Breakker in to WWE. Like, they brought him in against two guys like Ricochet and Ilya. And I really thought that was building to a three-way at Clash at the Castle. And obviously because of Ricochet, it hasn't. Other reasons, I guess, it hasn't. But the way that they've brought him in and the way that they're marketing him and the way they're pushing him as an absolute fucking monster is just it's a blueprint to how, if you want to debut somebody right, that's how you do it. If you want to debut somebody like a monster, that's how you do it. You do that. My other one will probably be, and it's one that it doesn't stand out because it wasn't an amazing match, but I liked it because it was different, and that was Shayna Baszler and Lola Vice at NXT the NXT Underground match. Just because that is such a, like, for people that watch wrestling and like watch like MMA, that is such a fucking hard match to pull off.
Oh yeah.
The match that they had to try and pull off. That is such a hard match to work cardio wise and just work wise. It's just a hard match to work. The only other thing, like a little chicken shitty thing, is that I would have rather that NXT show been put in a bigger arena. I know it was cool, it was in the UFC thingy, but it was like they moved from one small arena to another as small arena.
Yeah,
I think it deserves something a little bit bigger. Like, if they're going to do these shows, they could probably sell as many tickets as what like NXT AEW do to Dynamite. So just do that in a smaller venue.
Yeah, and I think having those kind of underground matches though breaks up the show, right? Like, it's more consumable.
And I think you can't do it every show. You can't have one of those every show, but every 3 or 4 big shows, great. The thing I liked about it is Baszler looked great in losing. She's lost nothing. I still want Baszler to be a bigger deal than she is on the main roster. Mm-hmm. And I think things like this build her towards that. Because she really needs reheating.
The thing is that they go, and I think Shayna even said it in a post-show promo sort of thing. She's like, I might not have won that match, but I am the best person you could ever put in those matches. I am the best at that. That match, I am the best at. It doesn't matter if I want to lose this match. I am the best at this. And she's right.
Actually, my chicken salad, forget everything I said. My chicken salad is the fact that WWE are sending Io Shirai off to Japan to wrestle. WWE put Shayna in Bloodsport. WWE are an open company right now. They had Jordan Grace on an NXT show. You can't get a company that's more willing to work with people than what is going on right now. And I think that is fantastic. And well done.
The only thing I will say I was disappointed at is because I really thought they were going to have the Radicals this week on NXT instead of...
Yeah.
I really, instead of Dunn, and there's nothing against Dunn and
Bate.
Thingy, but Bate. But I really thought they were going to bring the Radicals in. I was really hyped for it. And then when it was Dunn and Bate, I'm like, it's going to be
I think they're going to build towards that. That's not something they're going to do straight away. Plus, what a certain member of the Radicals did was pretty bad. You've got to realize it was pretty.
But wasn't all that cleared up? I thought all of that was cleared up.
I hadn't read that.
I'm pretty sure that was all. Yeah, look, I'm not sure though. I don't want to comment. So.
Yeah, without knowing for sure, I'm not going to make a comment. But you're absolutely right that like WWE is really opening up the world of wrestling. And if you want to know everything that's going on around the world of wrestling, Making Chicken Salad's the podcast to listen to. So make sure you head to twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia and hit the follow button so you get notified whenever we go live. You can also follow us at WrestleRadio AU on Twitter and Instagram, or WrestleRadio Australia on Facebook, and subscribe wherever you're getting it. It's free. You can do it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you are on Apple Podcasts, it gives us a huge boost if you would give us a rating and a review. A 5-star rating gets us into more ears, gets us able to reach more people. And another thing you can do to help us advertise that little bit is to wear us on your chest. That's right, you can get Wrestle Radio Australia t-shirts, etc. by heading over to Redbubble, searching for Wrestle Radio Australia, and the proceeds from that don't go to us. They go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, 2 awesome charities here in Australia that support men's mental health. Anything else that we need to plug? Oh, of course, we need to plug our social medias. Todd is at Beast Eastman. I am at Lachlan Albert. Geoff is at Jeff_SETI, and you can visit at Wrestle_Brainia to find out what's going to be going on around the world of WrestleBrainia in the near future. That's exciting, Geoff.
Yeah, there's going to be some announcements quite soon. Just holding my cards a little close to my chest at the moment, but you'll find out. And once again, thank you, Tony. Really.
Thanks, Tony. Anyone coming to Wide Bay Pro this weekend, please say hello. If you see us, both Todd and I will be there. Todd, anything else you need to plug?
Actually, yeah, because I'm trying to remember what the name of the next Pro League show is. So just vamp for a second.
Guerrilla Warfare.
Thank you, Guerrilla Warfare. This weekend we've got Wide Bay Pro. Next weekend after that we've got Guerrilla Warfare. I think it is next weekend after that, I believe. And then the week after that, am I right or am I wrong?
I have no idea. Let me open my calendar.
Vamp for a second.
I can vamp for a second if you want.
Yes.
Because obviously there is so much going on around the world of Aussie wrestling that, you know, it is difficult to keep up with. So make sure that you're on Stream Horizon this Saturday for Ballroom Brawl, that you're on Triller Plus tomorrow night, Friday night for PWA King of the Metro. The show we talked about tonight was PWL Chaos Theory. That one's free on YouTube. There's also Renegades of Wrestling coming up, so make sure you get your tickets for that one. That's on Sunday, the 28th of July. As you can see, all of these things, you know, start lumping together very quickly.
No, I was wrong. We've got Pro League this week, and then we've got a week off, and then after that we have that.
World Series Most Wanted, yeah.
So, yes. There are apparently only a few standing room tickets left for the Brisbane show, I was told by Adrian this week when I talked to him. So, yeah, get around it. Apparently they added in more seats than what they had last year, and they've all gone. So it's going to be they've sold more upstairs seating than they sold last time, and they've sold more seats downstairs than they did last time as well. So that is going to be a packed building. Get there because it's going to be a hell of a show. They already announced their first match for the Brisbane show. It was PJ against
TJP,
Cartwheel, TJP, sorry,
Cartwheel, and
Brian Cage
for the the Australian Championship. That's
correct.
That's going to be massively exciting.
Yes.
But yeah, so make sure that you do get around because that's what we're here for. We love Aussie wrestling and we want you guys to love Aussie wrestling as well. So until next time, on behalf of Geoff SETI and Todd Eastman, I've been Lachlan Albert. Have a good one. Thanks, Tony.
Good night.
Yeah, have a good one, everybody. Have a good one.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it.